I feel like that's good. Welcome back to Everyday's Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Everyday's Movie Ever. Today I'm going to be talking about Zombies. Zombies is a 2018 Disney Channel original movie. We finally made it to the Zombies movies. I've obviously heard all about them. There's like 50 of them at this point. I think there's a fourth one coming out this year. I'm exaggerating. But there's a lot of them. They're pretty popular and I've never seen one. So here we go. It's about how zombies are people too, and it's directed by Paul Hoen, cinematography by Robert Brinkmann, editing by Lisa Robison, music by George S. Clinton, and it's written by David Light and Joseph Raso. The film stars Milo Manheim as Zed, Meg Donnelly as Addison, Trevor Tordjman as Bucky, and Kylee Russell as Eliza. Filming started in May 2017 for 10 weeks in Toronto. People said it was really good messaging, and it has spawned 2, soon to be 3 sequels. I believe the 4th one comes out in July. I think this looked fine. The cinematography, it didn't necessarily stand out, but it was pretty high quality. I feel like at this point we're at pretty high quality for DComs because television quality has just improved. So it's not like the most beautiful cinematic experience, but it looks good. The flashback scenes that happen during Addison's like stand-up song feel so out of place. I hate when movies do this. I hate when movies do like a very flashback heavy song in a movie where like the stuff already happened. Like we just watched all of it happen, especially like there's flashbacks in the song that happened like 2 minutes ago in the movie, and I hate when movies do that. I really struggle with that. I think it like is really trying to force you to feel a certain way, and for me it tends to be ineffective. This might be where I lose people, but I feel like the music is fine. I don't think it's the worst musical music I've heard, but it's definitely just fine. I feel like with Descendants and Zombies so far, it feels very much like they're trying to make catchy sounding pop songs and like make that as part of the musical instead of making like a real true musical. Like the score of this movie has nothing to do with the musical numbers, and that's just wild to me. There's no like theme motifs, songs that carry you through, overture, like there's nothing that carries through, and no songs that like melodically relate, and it just feels like pop song opening, sad song, pop song, sad song, pop song, and they're supposed to just sound like the most current, cool music. And it really takes me out of it because it can be that kind of sound, but like in a musical format, and it doesn't feel like it's in a musical format because they're just like there. I don't know how to explain it other than they just feel like the most randomly dropped pop songs. There are a couple moments where they start singing and it feels appropriate that they have started singing, but sometimes it's just like this huge performative moment and it's less about like telling the story through song. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like if you put this up against like even the live action Little Mermaid, which added songs to the original, you've got the originals like Part of Your World and Under the Sea, you got those, and those are Kiss the Girl. Those, like, there's not, as Howard Ashman would say, they have no other choice but to sing their big, strong emotion. And in that movie, they add a couple songs, and one of the songs is For the First Time, where it's when Ariel doesn't have her voice, and she's singing inside her mind about all these things on land that she's experiencing. I don't think they could have made a better song to add. Like, how perfect, and it tells you exactly what Ariel was experiencing, her emotion, and the ride of that song. You go from like the excitement of her being like, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing sand, walking, jumping for the first time, and then, oh, these people are scary. Oh, do they only think of us as fish? Like, oh no, like, this is really scary for the first time. And then to Prince Eric, who she knows because she saved him, not recognizing her because she can't speak or sing, feeling that heartbreak for the first time. It is a delicious song that tells a story and fits seamlessly into the storyline, where these, in this, like both Descendants and this, Descendants 1, the song that I felt the most made sense is Evil Like Me, where her mom shows up and is like, so you wanna be evil? Like, it just made sense in the story. Rotten to the core, a weird opening. You know, and then, like, there were a couple songs in Descendants that came around, like, it was like, okay, that makes a little sense. This movie, I feel like the opening, okay. I normally cut a little slack for the opening, but, like, the Zombieland song that they sing, I get they're, like, showing her how they do it in Zombie Town, by the way. Don't get me frickin' started. They're singing a song called Zombieland, but they live in Zombie Town. That drove me absolutely bananas. But I just feel like there are other songs that, like, they're like, oh yeah, this has something to do with what's happening here, but it's not driving the plot forward. It brings the plot to a halt. Does that make sense? It just brings the entire story to a halt just to watch this musical number. And then the story continues. Instead of the song keeps propelling the story forward. It's hard to explain. There are obviously songs in this that do that. Like her whole stand-up song technically is pushing the plot forward. But it felt very much like that's what she was going to do right before she started singing. She was going to take off her wig, but then she sings a whole friggin' song. And she doesn't take off the wig until the song is over. Where, like, imagine how good that number could have been if she, like, whips off the wig as she's starting to sing, and it's like a whole ensemble number where people are singing, reacting to her, like, wig coming off, and she's singing, like, in defiance of it. Like, make it part of the, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm going on a whole, and then the lyrics, not good. Okay, so this is giving Descendants, but with zombies. So, like, in Descendants, it starts with a storybook opening where Mal is explaining how, you know, Beast and Belle come together and bring all the kingdoms together, and they banish all the evil people to an island, and then the evil people have children, and now the children are judged, and the prejudice that people have toward the parents are put onto the children, and then the children get to be integrated into the school. And it's like an allegory for prejudice and racism. Yeah, that's the same as Zombies. Zombies is about how at some point in the world, lime soda corrupted a bunch of crap and it created zombies. And then all the people put the zombies in an area and gated them off. And then zombies were able to, like, be controlled into real people with these Z-bands or whatever. And now we're integrating zombies into the high school. It's literally the same plot. Kinda, sorta. There's just no evil parents. You know what I mean? Like, the evil thing here is the, like, likelihood that they could go full real zombie if the Z-band doesn't work or comes off. So there's no parents in this aspect. You know what I mean? But otherwise, it's the same. Which, like, if the formula works, go for it. But, like, it was not lost on me. I was like, so, Descendants, but with zombies? Like, okay. It's pretty cringe in the beginning. I think the straight-to-camera feels very weird. It's a very expository moment, and it feels, because it's straight-to-camera for more than one character, it just isn't super effective. I still feel like the movie that, the DCOM, I should say, the DCOM that has done straight-to-camera the best is Quince. And that's hard to do because True Confessions does straight to camera. She's actually filming a documentary in the movie, so, like, that's very, like, meta. So, I don't know. The straight to camera felt weird. They set up a lot of stuff that is, I really thought a lot of more things were gonna happen. I knew she'd take off her wig in a moment of, like, we're all different. What I really thought was going to happen is she was going to take off her wig and, like, shame the crowd of people. And the crowd of people was going to reveal a bunch of strange things about themselves that they've been hiding, because actually everybody's different. But that didn't happen, which I thought was really interesting. It's also not explained why she has this stark white hair that she can't dye or whatever. I think that's really interesting. I don't know why. I wonder if they explore that in future movies. I also think her mom is in a wig. I was really happy they established, as soon as they showed Addison, I was like, wig! I was like, oh, it's a terrible blonde wig. It's a terrible blonde wig. But then she was like, this is why I'm wearing a wig, and it showed the white hair, and I was like, oh. And then it cut to scenes later where she just has her blonde hair, and it's her natural blonde hair, and I was like, okay, at least she doesn't have to be in a wig for the whole movie, because I would have been distracted by that the whole time. Anyway, the Z-Band saw that coming. Like, we had to see the Z-Band coming. I also saw coming that if he went full zombie, he'd be able to stop himself, and that would trigger, like, a whole thing. However, that is the part of the story that made me the most mad, is that there's this huge moment where he's gone full zombie, and he's going after Bucky under the bleachers, and he's able to stop himself before they get caught. And it never comes up again. The movie, like, resolves itself. And I'm like, this better be covered in sequels. Like, because I'm gonna have to watch them all. So I'm like, this, like, we better address the fact that, like, as a full zombie, he was able to stop himself. So the Z-Bands are, like, you know, potentially unnecessary. And that's the part of the story that made me the most mad, because that's, to me, really interesting. I don't care that he wants to be a football player dating a cheerleader. Like, you know, whatever. And then I think we need to talk about how this is obviously an allegory for racism, and in its attempt to teach acceptance, it is insanely racist. Like, it's just really bad. Like, I can't even... Zombies are harassed like this? I had no idea. After she just got done saying, I'm so sorry, Zed, my parents have taught me that zombies are gross, disgusting creatures. Same character, like 5 minutes apart. She punches him in the face. I'm so sorry, Zed, my parents taught me that zombies are disgusting, gross creatures. Not even 10 minutes later, zombies are this harassed? I had no idea. Girl, what? What? It's just... It's insane. It's... I can't even begin to... Like, you'd have to watch it to see. And I think... understand it fully, because it's just like... It could be argued that it's teaching that zombies have to assimilate to be accepted, which is not a lesson you want to teach about racism. And then it's, I don't know, it's really not okay. He also says swag very seriously in a song, and this movie came out in 2018, and that is late for swag. Swag was popular, like, in my senior going into freshman year of college, and that was 2012, 2013. So a legit swag in 2018 is, I feel, a little insane. The coach cracked me up. I think the coach was one of the funnier parts. The principal, this woman has now been in 2 DCOMs. The first one being The Swap, where she was an awful person, and now she's the principal, also an awful person. So I'm starting to not like this actress, but, like, shout out to her for being really good at that, I guess. Oh! Zed's football position. What time is it? Oh, I have to call my brother. Hang on, please hold.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
So last night I watched a DCOM.
Watched a what?
Disney Channel original movie.
Oh, okay.
It's called Zombies. It's a musical. It's stupid. But anyway, my point... In the movie, the zombie character wanted to play football, and he ends up on the football team. And I don't... What does a fullback do?
A fullback is basically somebody who blocks for the running back. You have the offensive line up front, right?
Yeah.
And the fullback in more traditional offenses would line up directly behind the quarterback. And as the quarterback turns to hand the ball to the running back, the fullback basically leads the way through a hole. And then he picks up with a block of a linebacker, a defensive back, and then if it's run properly, that gives the running back a clear lane into the second level and hopefully more yardage. That's basically the primary goal of what a fullback does.
Okay, and would it be normal for a fullback to end up with the ball all the time?
In some offenses, older offensive schemes, yes, the fullback would get, a lot of running, so it's not uncommon. But in offenses of today, they're usually used for just blocking.
Okay. Because, for 90% of this movie, I was like, what position is this person supposed to be? Because he was, quarterback for a second, it felt like, because he was accepting the hike.
Right.
And I was like, okay, is he going to toss it? And then he would run. I'm like, okay, the quarterback can run, that's fine. But then he was, doing a million other things, and I was like, what position is he? And then later in the movie, he says to someone he's a fullback. And I was like, does a fullback accept the hike and throw the ball?
He can in certain situations. There's an offensive system called the Wildcat where running backs and fullbacks can take the handoff directly from the center rather than the quarterback.
Okay, so it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that was accurate.
Correct.
Oh, okay, you learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, thanks, bub.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, great. So you learn something new every day. Because I genuinely was like, what is he supposed to be? And then later he says he's a fullback. And I was like, what does that do? I thought there weren't people that could do all those things, but I stand corrected. Thanks, Eric. Anyway, this is really disjointed. He's told not to swipe right on his Z-band, and then out of nowhere, by the way, he's at home. I thought swiping right on his Z-band was going to be an accident because he was so shaken up about something, or two, he was going to be like, let's see what it does in a moment of desperation during a football game. But he's at home and he's like, she told me not to swipe right on it, but I'm going to. And it's like, he doesn't even know what it does other than corrupt his Z-band. So I'm not understanding. I also don't understand how swiping right on his Z-band would make him look like a human. I genuinely don't understand that. None of that is explained or makes sense. It's never explained or set up that zombies can look like humans. They can wear makeup and dye their hair and whatever. You would think in this film, you would think more of them would try to do that because they're getting bullied so bad. They're oppressed. Other things I have problems with, Addison saying, give me a zom, give me a B, give me a zom, give me a B. What does that spell? Zombie. That doesn't spell anything. You're saying syllables. Well, absolutely shook me to my core. Zom, give me a zom, give me a B. What does that spell? Those are syllables. It doesn't spell it. Zom is not a letter. This movie's kind of stupid. Anyway, nothing, like I said, coming from Bucky seeing Zed stop himself while he's full zombie mode. Infuriating. That's the part that drove me the most crazy. Anyway, I've kind of dwelled long enough. We had a whole phone call with my brother. So this is all across the board. It has some really sweet moments. It's trying really hard for a good message, but is going about it really backwards ways. It's just a little bit bad. Something was up with the sound in this movie. There were multiple moments where all of a sudden the sound sounded like it was in a very big, echoey room, which just makes me think they had to switch to the boom microphone sound instead of getting the actors to come in and do ADR and replace their dialogue because something was up with the lav sound, I guess. It just was the most random moments and it drove me insane. I got really upset about it. And then the choreography was pretty decent, actually. I feel like there were a lot of big dance numbers, and they were pretty fun, and I feel like it was a big commitment. They had to know a lot of dance numbers, and it probably took a lot of practice. And the cheer sequences as well. I was pretty impressed by that. My favorite part of this, maybe the coach. He really made me laugh, and I appreciated that. Otherwise, I do think Milo and Meg had pretty good chemistry, so that might be up there for me. Least favorite part is probably the racism, but also the story inconsistency. Just the fact that if this were a standalone movie, I think I'd be way more livid about the fact that, like, in full-blown zombie mode, no Z-Band, he was able to stop himself from attacking Bucky, and nothing comes from that in this movie. What if it didn't get a sequel? I have no idea what happens in the sequels. I don't know if this is addressed or not, but I'm hoping so, which is what's making me not as mad. But if this were a standalone movie, I'd be pissed, because that's like a huge reveal, and then nothing comes from it. So that's probably also my least favorite part. Recommend? Sure. I feel like it's like one of those things. Like, you know, you all need to see High School Musical, you all need to see Teen Beach Movie, you need to see the bigger ones, right? You all need to see Luck of the Irish and Xenon. So I'm gonna go, sure. Watch again? I don't know about that. I'll watch the sequels as I have to, but I don't know if I'd go out of my way to watch this again. I don't really have anything else specific I'd like to talk about. It's across the board, up and down, so overall probably average. That's everything I have for Zombies. My final rating is going to be 5 Z-Bands out of 10. Our total movie count is... Parent Death Toll and Cry counters are the same. If you want to keep up with what movie I'm watching when, follow me on all socials, find out what movie I'm watching when. I put up videos every Monday, Friday, and sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. I got a tier starting at just $1, where you get every video a week early. Tiers above that, you get daily trivia, monthly postcards, bonus content, etc. Free merch, all that good stuff. Buy merch. Merch is great. Merch is grand. Until next time, come and subscribe. I'm not in charge of your life. You are, so you. And don't be like the principal or Bucky. I know he learns his lesson, but Bucky was terrible in this movie. Celebration month is soon.